think if you ever get lost in Paddington Station, someone will take you home and look after you. If I just leave you there one day.
I think you'd need to put a label on me that said, please look after this bear. Hello and welcome to the Popcorn Club, where it is now December. Well, actually, it's December everywhere. But do you know how I can tell it's December?
How?
Because it's nearly Christmas. Because we've got some flashing lights and I'm wearing penguin leggings.
Oh, good Lord.
Woohoo! But also, you can tell it's December because there are films about bears in the cinema, which I'm always a fan of. And by bears, I mean Paddington. We went to see Paddington. What was Paddington about?
Well, Paddington is about a bear from darkest Peru who makes his way to London to look for a new family, essentially, to be hopefully adopted. Well, to find, in this version, it's to find, and I don't know anything different from the original, but it's to find the explorer who came and visited them many years ago, because he thinks the explorer will give him a family. But he ends up moving in with the Browns?
Browns, yeah.
He moves in with the Browns.
And Mrs. Bird.
Yes.
Is their caretaker.
And hijinks, bear jinx ensue.
Did you like it?
It was a lot better than I thought it would be going in. I don't think the trailers really did that much justice to it originally. It looked a little bit generic and didn't really sell or have any flavour of the heart of the movie. It kind of felt a little bit bland. So I was a bit apprehensive going in. After the first 10 minutes or so, when we start the film with Paddington and his aunt and uncle in Peru, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the film really nicely, and the sort of slightly offbeat, slightly quirky humour that the film's got going, and it kind of balances this, what is essentially a fairly universal and could possibly be a fairly generic story, but that's told really well, and with quite a lot of flair.
Yeah, and
especially for a kids' film.
It's just a great quality film that I think putting it in the kids' film category can sometimes feel like a bit of a slur, but I think there are some brilliant kids' films out there. And this is another one. It's actually really difficult to make a really good kids film, and so many kids films that come out year after year just don't have the care and attention put into them, which is a real shame, because that means they're all kind of just flashy, vacuous pieces of film that parents take their kids to see but end up spending half their time.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly the sort of apprehension that I had going in. I was like, oh, is it just going to be...
But this just works on every level. Like, it's great for the kids, the small kids, the young, the slightly older kids, and the adults. Just all, there's something for everyone in there. The love that's gone into it, I think. I mean,
it's very well realised and very well executed, more so than I ever really thought it even could be.
Some of the standouts for me was Hugh Bonneville just was Mr. Brown, like absolutely to a T. And I actually thought Julie Walters was really good as Mrs. Bird and got that on the nose as well. And actually Nicole Kidman was surprisingly... I always forget that she's actually not that bad sometimes. She was quite a good, menacing villain.
I think that's kind of one of the points of the film and why it kind of was better than I was expecting. She was playing, although I don't think she was great in the film, I think the way the character was drawn as some sort of dominatrix taxidermist.
Yeah.
When you say it out loud, it feels like almost feels maybe a little bit too risque for what is essentially a kids' film, but when you see it in context with the rest of the film, I think it works really well.
And Peter Capaldi's hilarious as well as Mr. Curry, the nosy neighbour, and his infatuation, one-sided infatuation with Nicole Kidman's character. So a lot of the characters are really well thought out and really well played by some great actors. I was worried going in, because obviously I remember Paddington as an animated feature, that having this CGI bear would perhaps ruin it and just be really like distracting and like clunky. But actually I forgot it was CGI, which sounds silly because it's a talking bear. Of course it's not real. The animation is very well realised for a start, because the fur is quite realistic as well. Although a lot of action happens around him, he's not like a flashy character. He does kind of blend in with the family weirdly, because again it's a bear, like that's mental, but they do all kind of fit together and it feels real.
I didn't notice, or it didn't stand out as being overly false,
no,
or out of well, not necessarily false, but out of character or out of tone with the rest of the film, because it is kind of this picture perfect, idealised London. It's not a gritty and realistic in any way, so I think he fits in perfectly well with it.
Talking about London and the way London's pictured, I actually think the whole film, like its slant on the world and London in particular, I just really enjoy it. For me, it was a very British kids film. Like, it was poking fun at British people and London and that sort of culture in a very heartwarming way as well. Like, for example, there's this scene where I think it's Matt Lucas, isn't it? He's the taxi driver. They're taking Paddington home from Paddington Station, and he goes, there's this montage of him going all over London, all over the sites. And I don't know what you were thinking. We didn't talk about it, but I heard a noise from you. I assume you were thinking the same thing.
I did say.
Like, we were both like, oh, you know, you wouldn't go from Paddington to Tower Bridge, then to Buckingham Palace. That route makes no sense. You know, yeah, that makes no sense. But then it immediately follows it up with a little quip from Matt Lucas going, and Hugh Bonneville getting out of the cabin going, that was a ridiculous way home, and him going, oh, you should have tried it. So it sort of knows itself. It's very funny, and it pokes fun at itself. It pokes fun at London, but in a nice way. And I just thought its humour, its self-deprecating humour was very British overall. It just felt made me proud to be from England and from London. So yeah, I liked it. Another thing I really liked about the film was the overall message of that actually London is a city where everybody's different. No two people are necessarily the same, but that means that anybody can find a home there. And I just really liked that. I was like, yeah, it's true. And that's what I love. One of the things I really love about living in a big city like London. So, yeah. To sum it up, I feel like this film has really looked after this bear. Like, it has really treated the source material with respect, with love, with kindness, and produced something wonderful out of it. So, well done. You did a good job, director man.
Director man, Paul King. The guy who directed, I think he started off directing The Mighty Boosh. So,
okay,
and did
that
the
makes sense.
Bull,
Because
so
that kind of left of centre, quirky humour, I think, worked with the Britishness of the source material. I think it was really nice. Popcorns?
Oh, good, solid 8 popcorns out of 10, I think.
I want to give it 9.
Well, you can.
Maybe I'm in a Christmassy mood. I'm wearing penguin leggings. I'm somewhat forgiving. I'm going to give it 9. 9 popcorns. 9. Done it. Good. Merry Christmas to everyone. Good job. So what are we saying next week for our new release video?
Next week, it's your choice. Next week is St. Vincent.
St. Vincent. As Russ put it, it's a bit of a fallow week in the new release. I think everyone's waiting for Boxing Day, aren't they?
Well, The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies the week after, and then I think everything seems to kick off. There are much
Boxing
bigger films.
Yeah.
But there's a few smaller films next week.
So we're going to see St. Vincent. But obviously, also, in the meantime, we're right in the middle of kicking off #Popcorn Festive Fest. So if you didn't see our video the other day, there'll be another one on Sunday, and you can catch up. And, you know, to make sure you don't miss them, why don't you subscribe? It's the best, you know, Christmas present you could give to yourself and a loved one. So why don't you do that?
Just steal their iPad. Go onto YouTube.
Subscribe. Just click a little button. It's free, and you won't miss anything. So we'll see you next time, either for Festive Fest or for our next new release video, St. Vincent, and see you then. Bye. Did you like it? Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.